Hey guys, this is my second video coming after last week. Some progress being made with the pec injury and my training in general. Here we have our dynamic warm-up, and I can say this went a lot cleaner than last time. Those caterpillars weren't affecting me as much as they were last time. And then, going into this, we have the spring ankle series again, just the hop series. We did the double leg hops last week. That's usually what I've been doing on the day one, which I portrayed in all my exercises last week. This is the day two, which will work on some unilateral hopping. So as you can see, I started by going forward, down, and now we're going backwards. So again, we're trying to get all directions when we do these multi-directional hop series. And it's not about getting as high as you can. It's not about, being super explosive. It's really about just kind of having a rhythm and being elastic through the foot and ankle complex, right? You can get the same effect really from, playing sports and, playing basketball or football, whatever it is. But if you're someone who doesn't play sports all the time like me anymore, this is a good way for you to get some high quality foot contacts, ankle contacts, without, playing hours of basketball, playing hours of football, whatever it is. This is a perfect way to keep your foot and ankle complex springy, athletic, and hopefully get you to the point where you're, mitigating any chance of an injury if you do end up going in and playing sport. Again, here we have the zigzag going in and out on that right leg. And, this I've really found over the past, 2 years, probably since I've been incorporating these. I feel like the reason I started this, because, I would always be getting, foot pain or like plantar fasciitis or, Achilles pain or anything like that. And I started incorporating these. I saw them being used by, I think it was like Elon Sports Performance. And, I was like, I'll give that a try. I'll see what happens. And it just kind of made sense to me that, taking off my shoes, using the ball of my foot, not allowing my heel to crash, would help strengthen that whole, soleus muscle, gastrocnemius muscle, as well as provide some elasticity to the Achilles tendon itself. And not only have I found that it's helped me with any foot and ankle problems, but I feel like my knee and hip problems seem to fade away as I do more of the hop series as well. Not saying it's a magic pill or that, you do this and it'll fix everything, but definitely something to take note of if you're someone who does deal with like any type of lower leg type injury or have chronic pain when doing sports or activities or anything like that. I've been having all my athletes utilize this type of training like right after the warm-ups, right before we're doing like a big sprint day, or maybe as like on like an upper body day when we're not going to be training the legs for like power or explosion or like high intensity or intensive jumps. This was a good way for me to add in some hopping without going crazy on the legs after doing a heavy leg day the day before. So here we are, back to the 1x20. Again, one set, 20 reps. And last week when I was doing this, I probably started about 50% of my max. And then from there, it's just progressive overload. And, progressive overload is undefeated, in my opinion, if you're doing it correctly. That doesn't mean, I did, 200 pounds the first week. Now let me rock right up to 225. No, like you add the littlest amount that you can do each session. So I'm doing the 1x20 4 times per week. I'm going to add 2.5 pounds on each side to the bar every single time I do this 1x20, which doesn't seem like much. It doesn't seem like it's going to give you that crazy effect or anything like that. But what I found is that doing the 1x20, just adding the least amount every time, is you gain strength, and you gain the strength that isn't going to go away. It's going to last a long time. It's going to be with you for longer, as opposed to you trying to jump right up to heavier weights, and then maybe you're not getting all 20 reps and you're failing more. You wouldn't get that same effect as if you took it slow, added the least amount, and got good quality repetitions. So here, moving on to the push-ups here. Obviously, coming off that pec injury, this movement has been extremely tough for me to get back to, okay? Starting off, I really stacked up all my boxes over there and pretty much did wall push-ups. Now, 2 weeks after the injury, we're probably getting about half of that, probably going from a height about 48 inches down to a height of, this is about 24 inches for me. And what I notice is, I am trying to compensate with that left side, but being conscious of that every single time at the bottom here, you can see me reset my shoulder blades and kind of pause for a second while I'm down there to really focus and emphasize pushing through that right side and that injured side. So I'm making sure I get some work into that muscle and tendon unit to provide blood flow and hopefully provide some healing to that muscle and tendon as we continue our rehab process here. And I will tell you, these 20 reps, usually for someone who's able to bang out 60 to 80 push-ups in one set if I wanted to, these 20 reps on, this incline was, almost an RPE 8 or 9 out of 10 with kind of the weakness that my pec has been feeling. Coming off of this week, I did meet with a doctor, and they said that he doesn't think it's a complete tear, which is good news. It might be a partial tear. So what we're going to do is get an MRI this week, and hopefully by the time I talk to you guys next week, we'll have a good understanding of the severity of the injury. Here we have some Rdls, guys, and this is awesome. Both my hinging and squatting movements aren't providing any pain to the pec tendon or anything, so I'm really able to load these up. I think here we had 195 pounds today for a good solid 20 reps. And on these Rdls, we're always focused on hinging at the hips. I keep my toes pressed in the ground to really activate those glutes, which we touched upon last time, creating that pathway, that correct firing pattern for these Rdls to really have a great effect on the glutes and then the hamstring. And then moving on here, we got some Trx rows. In the last video, I think we were doing dumbbell rows. And then this is another way for me to be in that supine position, get some good lengthening out of the arms, and really focus on squeezing those shoulder blades at the top of each rep here. These weren't causing me any pain, which is awesome. I'm able to fully lengthen and fully squeeze the shoulder blade, which I feel like is starting to bring the stability back to the back part of my shoulder. The posterior chain of my shoulder here has really been affected by this injury at first. But now that we've, spent a couple of weeks rehabbing, really utilizing, the scaps and the lats and all of those intricate muscles of the shoulder, I feel like I'm finally starting to get that stability back into it, which has helped my recovery big time. And then here we have the dumbbell split squats. It took me a while to motivate myself to get 20 reps on each leg right now. This is 60 pounds in each hand, heavy loads, 20 reps on each side. This is the hard part of the workout to me. This is the most winding. It's really focused on trying to get the knee over the toe, trying to get that good hip extension on the way down and squeezing my glute at the top of each rep. The hardest thing really is gripping these weights for the amount of time that I was gripping. This is almost like a 2-minute set right here. And by the end of it, I've dropped these weights here and, I'm walking up and my hands are feeling it. Definitely pretty intense work right there. Moving on, this is the dumbbell shoulder press. We again single arm today. The other day that we showed last week, we had both arms going at once. This is a good way to get some unilateral arm strength. And this right here is the injured side, the right side. And I got 12 pounds here, which doesn't seem like much for what I've been doing in the past, but it felt good. There was no pain. There's no restriction in motion. My full range of motion is being trained here. Definitely not feeling as strong as I once was in this motion, but I feel like it's coming back little by little. And, training that full range of motion, hopefully we're getting some good lengthening into the tendon and muscle units, and bring some blood flow into the area, and hopefully that will promote some more healing for that side. Obviously transferring it over to the other side here, this is easy. This is clean. This is like no resistance at all for this side. But I feel like it's important to train both sides, because there's a lot of studies that show that training the contralateral side will help train or help bring back the other side faster, because they'll get that effect. So that's why I treat this side with the same exact weight and the same exact, range of motion. So that way it's getting the same work on this side as it is the injured side. Hopefully, over time, we can keep progressing these weights. Like I said, little by little, like we did the 12s today. Next time, we can really hope to see the 15s be going up. Here, we had the Glute Bar Lift. Tough setup for a lot of people, but I find a pretty good setup with the blue pad and having my shoulder blades on that 18-inch box. Really good movement. I like it a lot for good hip extension pattern and a good glute developer. It's really focused, again, digging toes in the ground, so we're not feeling the hammies too much. About 90 degrees with the legs in the ground. And really focus on touching the ground each time evenly, and then squeezing those toes and squeezing the glutes as hard as we can on each rep to get the fullest effect out of that. And then we're at the lat pull down. So with the lat pull down, I really focus on the stretch on the way up. The pull down for me isn't very hard. It's that last 2 or 3 inches on the way up where I'm stretching. I can feel the tendon itself working to be stretched and lengthened. So I kind of go up in a controlled fashion, so that way I can really get some good eccentric work into that muscle and tendon unit. And hopefully, this is providing a really good amount of blood flow, a really good amount of work to my lats, which again, I've already talked about with the Trx Rows earlier, has provided me with, some stability back in the back half of the shoulder, which is really the main issue that I've been feeling when I've been doing any type of pressing or push-ups or dumbbell presses that I've been doing over the past couple of weeks. Is not really the front half where the injury is, but the stability of the shoulder with the posterior muscles in the back has been causing the greatest issues. So hopefully, doing these type of exercises is providing me with some good adaptations, so that way we can keep getting stronger on the back end. And then here, some calf raises, some standing calf raises, and I do them a little bit differently than you might normally see someone doing them. Again, always with the foot elevation, so that way we can get the proper lengthening on the bottom. I keep my legs completely straight during the entire movement. And then opposite hand has the weight, adding a little bit of load. And then really on the front end, with the right hand here, I just have knuckles into the wall. And, the reason why I did knuckles is because it just provides a little bit more work for the foot and ankle complex down below. I see people, maybe put their hands on top of something or having their hold hand on the wall, and they're almost using that hand to help push them up, making the ankles and calves do less work. So these are really strict calf raises, and hopefully by the end of the 20 reps, you want to be feeling a really good burn on those. And then here, back to some bicep curls. I think we did more conventional bicep curls last time. I did the hammer curls today to see how they would feel. And based on the last video, I really noticed that my right side was drooping down a little bit because of that shoulder instability. It wasn't staying up the whole time. So that was a main focus today. Is during these curls, I try to keep both shoulders as even as possible. I tried to fully lengthen and reset at the bottom. And then from there, I could get full range and get a lot of good blood flow right where the injury is. Because if we talk about the pec tendon, inserts right at the top of the humerus, right above the bicep tendons. So I thought this went well. I didn't have any issues going through here, no pain. Again, only using 10 pounds here, not going heavy, just trying to get blood flow, just trying to get good quality reps, good time under tension, good control on the way down. And I think these are really starting to benefit the injury and not causing it any unwanted stress. And then here we have some anterior tibialis band pulls. So with the anterior tibialis band pulls, we are seeing that we have, just like when I was doing the standing ones the other day, these are providing my front of my legs with some good tension that I'm able to work in a full range of motion. So I let the ankle stretch all the way down to the point where I'm almost doing a calf raise at the bottom of the stretch. And then I'm pulling just with that ankle complex, pulling my big toe towards my knee and really squeezing at the top of each rep to get the most benefit out of these ones, okay? And then, especially for me right now, having not being able to, play, my normal basketball or get on the field and run routes with any of my players, this is going to be a huge exercise for me to keep these muscles strong, keep these decelerators of the lower leg, strong and going into a full range of motion. So that way, when I do eventually get back out there and start moving around athletically and start planting my feet in the ground and start making cuts and slowing down and accelerating to decelerating, that these muscles won't be untrained. These muscles will be ready for some impacts, ready to do their job, and they'll be strong enough to be resilient enough to handle any loads that I do put on them when we get back out on the field. Again, not an injury, not an exercise that's gonna prevent injuries. I don't really believe in that, but I think it's important to cover all your bases when you're doing your training. If you're leaving something to chance, that's usually going to be what ends up, injuring you in the long run. So we have some tricep push downs here. Not very hard for me. Definitely a lot better than they did the first week. I only have about 40 pounds on these tricep push downs, which was a lot heavier than I went the first week. I only think I had 10s on there. But now, we're going through a full range of motion. I'm really focusing on squeezing on both sides. I'm really focusing on my shoulder position, so I'm not, pushing down more on one side than the other. I want equal amount of tension going through here in the triceps in this pushing and pressing form. Because I think when I do get back to full, bench pressing or dumbbell pressing, the triceps are going to be a huge area that I focus on. And then here we can see the field test that I did from last week. Obviously, 2 weeks ago, this motion was impossible. This is what I lost right away, the ability to raise my arm and pull my arm back to the ground. And now, almost 2 weeks later, that motion is completely fine in the neutral grip, in the wide grip. That was completely fine. And then, moving on to some adduction, pulling the body towards pulling the arm towards the body, and then abduction, pulling the arm away from the body, which was really hard last week. If you saw the video, I could barely raise my arm off the ground. This was awesome to see that I was able to go through a full range of motion on the ground and then a full range of motion across my body. Now it's not smooth yet, it's not strong, but it's getting there. It's getting to that point where I'm able to fully extend and fully go across comfortably without putting me in too much pain. It's just not strong yet, so I think if we continue on this path of building up muscle and building up time under tension, it will get to that point where it's completely healed. And then this one I think has been important for me in general, is just doing this isometric exercise to bring a ton of blood flow into the area. It has provided me with so much relief and pain and trying to get my strength back. And I think that if I continue to progress the isometrics, just by increasing the amount of time that I can hold that position, it's going to continue to offer me those benefits. Now, after this week, guys, we'll let you know. Hopefully we'll have the MRI results by next week, and then we can continue on with, our talks of training and, what we're going to have to do moving forward after we figure out the severity of the injury. But that's about it for today. Thanks for staying with me the whole time. Please like and subscribe below, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.